internet platforms, internet what do you call this? Um, Sites and all that,
Mm.
and of course, kanang mga internet personalities.
Mm. So ang akong bias, like I said, akong bias is si Luis of the Kings. Muna
Mm.
akong bias. Kung BTS pa ko, BTS fan pa ko, muna akong bias. Sorry, the other members, ha. Akong bias, good si Kuan, good si Luis, good. But before we interview the band, I want you guys to listen to this next song from the Kings. Okay, this one is called Money Can't Buy Love. And I want the band to talk about it right after we play it on 105.1 TMC, the most Cebu events, the most Cebu conversations, the most Cebu music. See the Kings, money can't buy love. Really now? Do you actually believe that, Luis?
Money
Huh?
can supplement love.
Supplement love.
It could aid in the loving, but
Okay.
it can't get you real loving. Thanks for having us, Jiggy.
Maayong buntag.
Maayong buntag.
Luis, can you kindly introduce everyone? Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, you guys.
Everyone, we're the Kings. Glad to be here at TMC. My name is Luis.
And my name is Paolo. And I'm Alfonso, and I play the bass.
Right.
Maayong buntag ninyo diya. The Kings. I just played a song, Money Can't Buy Love. When did you release this song? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm playing it from Spotify, and I'm very intrigued about the timelines of this song.
Thanks. So Money Can't Buy Love is part of our debut EP
Oh.
that was released last year, I believe. Am I right, Paolo?
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So we released the EP last year, a collection of 5 songs that we revisited and reimagined. So those are the songs in our vault. And we wanted to launch the Kings with those 5 songs. But then those 5 songs are last year, and we're excited about this year and what we have in store.
So, what is the plan here? Is this 5-track EP just a sort of a teaser for something bigger? Maybe perhaps
Right.
a full-length album, or maybe perhaps a tour.
Alright.
What's the plan for the Kings?
All right. So just to share a little context.
Okay.
So we're a 5-piece pop rock band made of the Quebranza siblings.
Okay.
But 3 of them, myself, Paolo, and Angelo, were actually part of Bethany.
Oh,
So Bethany is a
Oh.
band that has been
Bright.
since
I love Bright.
oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
So we've been in the scene for quite some time,
Mm.
and so when we made the Kings, something new to involve our 2 younger brothers, the concept was like, well, let's pay tribute to our old songs, but segue to the newer generation. So we called the debut EP Parallels. So Parallels is a 5-song EP, but those 5 songs are reimagined versions of Bethany songs. So that's it. It's more of a transition thing where, if we talk about parallel or alternative universes and stuff, both bands exist. There's Bethany and there's the Kings. They would have just treated those same songs a different way.
Murag laing universe.
In
right?
anang a
Yeah.
universe.
Multiverse, right?
Multiverse,
Murag
right.
MCU or
Inana.
DCU.
And ayaw mi flag MCU pero inana ang concept. Inana ang concept.
Bethany is still
Bethany
is still there.
Yeah, Bethany is still Bethany,
Okay.
handling rock stuff and all that. But we're excited about the Kings. We're excited about reaching new frontiers musically, lyrically. So that's it, basically. And the Kings is, more importantly, it's all 5 of us now, the Quebranza siblings, Luis, Angelo, Paulo, Alfonso, and Chesco.
Tell us about your beginnings. Like, how did you guys get started? I mean, are you like a family of musicians? Are your dad and mom musicians? How did this happen?
Yeah, so like any other family, we grew up in one household. So as what my brother mentioned, we're all siblings, the 5 of us. So we grew up in a household where our parents really supported us doing music. So at an early age, like for myself, there was a drum set at home that we could use because we also had a church background. So sometimes they would store that drum set at home, and I would get to use it, and we would be exposed. And sometimes my brothers would jam with me, and then sila Alfonso and Chesco, as they grew up as well, they were exposed to us playing a lot of music. So it was just very natural. It came together, and that's why I think for me that's how I looked at it growing up. Like Louis started, he played the guitar, and then si Angelo, and then I came along. Then we just wanted to find our own instruments, find our own place, so that we'll be able to play together as brothers.
Can you talk to us about what's it like being in a band made up entirely of your siblings? Like, I guess one of the things nga madunggan na to every now and then is like infighting gani sa bands and all that.
Yeah.
So what's it like being with your brothers sa band? What's the infighting like? Huh?
Grabe. Ano siya? I think there's
Stop kicking. Who's doing that?
ano siya? Anyways, yeah. So it has its good side, its ups and downs, but it depends how you handle the situation and how you move forward together. Mo na siya. So for me personally, being the middle child, I'm like the third. Yeah, I'm the middle child, so I
okay.
see like the older sibling aspect and the younger sibling aspect. Gobot siya. if you want it to be gobot. So sometimes our ideas would clash. So for example, in songwriting right now, we have ideas coming from the younger generation and we have coming from the lions like older generation, no? Pero sa mas maguwang-guwang lang gamay nga generation.
Advanced generation.
More
So
senior.
so sometimes the ideas would clash and then influences would clash. Pero like what I've said earlier, depende rin na on how we collaborate and move forward sa together.
Yeah, but isn't that what good art is all about? It's the clashing, you know? Like there has to be tension and texture within our art. So we embrace that as well.
So clashing is important for art, absolutely. But how do you not disintegrate
Right.
from the clashing?
So-
is a challenge, right?
Yes,
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would find ourselves arguing after a live performance. Like, uy, ikaw sayop ka, ikaw you played the wrong part. And then, uy, ikaw yabag ka. So, yeah. So, ano
So, Paul, a lot of the credit goes to our parents. So not all families are the same, but those guys have been very supportive, and they raised us up in a way where it's like teamwork. It's always about teamwork. So while we're very sensitive, or we want to find our own individualities, we don't mind working as a group together. And like what Paulo just mentioned, you can't really avoid it. I mean, we've heard of the infamous Gallagher infighting. And
Yeah.
Speaking of parents, I think your mom has something to say.
Ipos ang Rizal sana, walang gawin makipos.
Oy,
Ako na lang kanandri ah!
basta
Oh,
sugoon.
what was that all about, man?
Sorry, man. But yeah, a lot of it is just how we were raised and our passion for art. So the pros outweigh the cons. in
Okay.
a sense.
So as musicians, I can observe you now nga murag may kay mo mangin English, di ba? Katong kanta inyong gitukar, katong
Money can't buy love.
money can't buy me love, or you love me, but or you.
Lahos ra to, love.
Money can't buy love, period. So dili to first person di. Kani nga asa man mo komportable ba? Are you more comfortable writing in English, or mas maayo mo magbinisaya? Kay katong Samantha,
Yes.
which we're gonna play later on, is medyo binisaya man to, di ba?
Right.
So where are you more comfortable?
You know, we've written songs in English,
Okay.
but Luis here is actually our chief songwriter.
Okay.
So, Luis, what's your point?
May tira sa mong in-house DJ. Eh.
Lami kay introduction
Set
pag guman.
up
Assist na assist.
Okay, so there has to be a lead songwriter role, but I throw it back to the team. There's a bit of democracy in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up as a writer. It's what I'm passionate about. So English good akong sinuwatan. Now, what I'm happy about with the Qings is I never had anything about Bisaya. I never really had anything against Bisaya music, but I just didn't know how to write it. And then eventually, after years of being a musician, I was able to find Bisaya naturally. Nga, how to songwrite. Lahi man good ang songwriting ba? Kung mustorya may antigo ra may mustorya binisaya taga diri good may ana. Pero igsuwat ganin mo kanta, lahi gid siya og style. Mo na akong idol actually si Inso you mentioned earlier. Sunstar man na siya.
Yeah, correct. I
Trabaho
was gonna mention that, yeah.
So idol gid ako si Inso. Like from a biz rock perspective, the way he writes, kana ganing poetic pero dili sad kayo lam, malingaw sad ka. So there's an art to it. And finally, being the Qings, like fast forward to 2025, nisuway ko kanta. In fact, ang binisaya sa samong new song, di gid siya inunlaom, pero igo ra siya ba nga komportable nga makanta.
The conversational.
Yeah.
Unsa man ning kata katong Samantha, or
Samantha,
like?
sorry,
Okay,
Samantha.
Okay.
So, I mean, to answer it briefly, again, komportable kog English, but I'm learning Bisaya.
In terms of virality, in terms of we would venture in saying profitability, in terms of
Right.
of the demand, but which do you think commands more attention in terms of the music market as we know it now? Is it Binisaya? Is it in English or Tinagawag? Unsa may maayo karon?
Okay, so if we were talking about demographics,
Yeah.
each language serves a different demographic. However, in the internet age, people are vibing more to the music more than the lyrics. For instance,
In the Philippines, right?
in the Philippines.
In the Philippines.
No,
yeah.
but I mean, generally speaking, come on, let's talk about K-pop or J-pop or J-rock.
correct.
I mean, the Philippines, we were Western magkitag influence. So we grew up listening to English and America and British music. But these days, especially if you ask the Gen Alpha or the Gen Zers, unsa na sila, diverse na kayo. They even listen to Thai artists, which sometimes English gyapon a medium. So profitability, marketability, and virality wise, I think a lot of it has to do with first of all, it's the music, the hook nga magamit nila in a TikTok dance. Unfortunately for us, nga dili kay may musayaw. And second, the looks. But then the music, the language just follows.
So the lyrics, third na siya.
Yes. I mean, in the sense that from an attraction perspective, the music is the looks. Everybody is attracted to looks. Ana gina dapat uy gwapaha, uy gwapo lagi ni siya. Lyrics next ra na siya. Once you read the lyrics, hala deep
So
man din.
even before or after na siya sa music, right?
Personally, that's how I view it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when you make music, do you think of that formula, or do you write from your heart and because because you're a songwriter, right? And
yes.
for some artists, it starts with the lyrics, diba?
Definitely.
And then the music, and then the music video and the looks, right?
Right.
So what's the process like for the Kings? Is it music first? Is it lyric first? Is it concept first and the music video? So do you think vividly in terms of music video first, and then you write the lyrics, and then how does it work? What's the process?
Well, ako for me, ano siya, there are some songs that started with music first.
Okay.
Okay, as the drummer of the band, lisod kay muswato kanta using the drums, basically. No, so it's more like vision. Ganan ko natay kanta nga ingani ang drums ay, and then musakay si Angelo like, okay, we can add this melody with the guitar, and then Luis comes in with his lyrics. So there are some songs nga ingon ana, but most of the songs we always start with the lyrics, and then because we stem the feel of the song basing on the message of the lyrics. So more or less na gina diha, no?
Yeah.
In case you're wondering what you're listening to or who you're listening to the Kings, of course, live here in 105.1 TMC. And we're talking about music and the like. If you want to join the conversation, please join us on YouTube, Tops Media Center, on TikTok, Tops Media Center, also on on Facebook, Tops Media Center. Text 0999-887-6070 kung namoy mga pangutana sa The Kings Band, spelled with a Qings. Our advocacy here in 105.1 TMC is to assist, is to aid, is to give the Cebu music industry a nudge, a push to the right direction. My question here is, I actually, for a while, hesitate to use the word industry. We're not quite there yet. Am I right in hesitating in saying industriya na ni? This is still a music scene, not an industry yet. Or are we already an industry? Tell me.
Okay, I think the elements are there. What makes an industry is the structure.
Okay.
Now, from a structure perspective, yes, we're on our way there, but we're not quite there yet.
Okay.
Unlike the capital, the capital has the.
You mean Manila, right?
Manila.
Okay.
Yeah. They have the photographers and the videographers and the managers and all that. But you know what? This is not looking down on Cebu. It's just a different island, really. We're more of the island life. Geographically, mas gamay gina Cebu. Siyempre, kung gamay ang Cebu, madarag sabot tanan, badili ka ng Manila, nga dako kayo nga email diri, cellphone dito. Diri Cebu, madarag storya. Like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? So, pero that's like how I led with the elements are already in place. We have great artists. We have capable managers.
Productions as well.
We have production outfits that's scattered lang natay met a great metal scene, a great punk scene. We've got a pop scene. So kana lang, it's bringing them together. And what's exciting is, I mean, with TMC now at the forefront of these things and other brands as well, you could see the Bisaya music scene kind of gravitating towards each other as a united front.
I'm glad to hear that they're gravitating together towards a united front. And you mentioned earlier that it's just a matter of putting them together. And one of my observations, being an observer of Cebu music for a long, long time, for decades now, is that the Cebu music scene is very tribal. Mura silang magkampo-kampo ba? I don't know if I need to revise that perspective. Should I?
Well, there is truth to that, but it's more of the passions. If you're a passionate indie rocker, if you're a passionate punk rocker, you're in that scene. But it doesn't say that they have a dislike towards the other camp. It's really just a music thing.
Okay.
So I think it's more of structure. If there's a structure that hosts all of these camps together, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to support it.
So you don't feel like these groups, the divisions aren't that wide.
No, I mean it's really more logistical for me, Jiggy, in the sense that if I pay $550 for this show, I don't want to pay another $550 for this show because I'd be spending $1,000 one Saturday night. So it's more logistical than it is.
So is this like because of business? It's just an economic a symptom of the economy because there's not enough. For example, gigs for bands. That's why magkampo-kampo sila, or is it just merely creative nga? Kami hip hop mi diri, kami
no.
rock mi diri, kami alternative mi diri.
No,
Like,
man.
what's the division anyway in the first place? We're such a small town, right? We're such a
Yeah.
small city.
Right.
Unya, why can't we just all agree, man? It's not like we're mura matang nag-ilog og something that's so big, right? It's a small market.
Yeah, no. I mean, if I may interject,
Go ahead.
I don't think there was. I don't think na ilog.
Oh.
It's more of two things. First is comfort zone. Like Cebuanos are very comfortable. Like I'm here enjoying my beer. I support those guys, but I don't need to be there.
Dude,
tonight.
it's still 11 o'clock. Coffee,
Sorry.
coffee lang.
Coffee. So
I'm just kidding.
right. So comfort zone, and second is respect. Like I respect my scene and I respect your scene, but I don't need to be there. I'll be there when I need to be there. So inana siya, it's really comfort zone.
Maybe it's not a Cebu thing. Maybe it's an artist thing, right? Could it be?
Possible. Very possible. Like I think for me as an artist, of course I have a lot of respect for the other genres, other prods. Pero saktong giingon earlier Jigs nga kana lagi kani ang scene kay this is the metal scene, this is the indie scene, this is the pop scene. So murag tungod lang gid nga you support wherever scene nga asa ka passionate about. Kunya murag mahog na lang siya kay tungod gamay ra sad kay ta nga scene for now mo nang matagad gid nga murag na division, but I don't think that tungod one wants to be better than the other. I don't think it's like that.
Yeah, I think there's
Yeah.
something I learned in Indonesia by one of their murag themes there as a country is unity in diversity. So we're made up of diverse genres and all that, but that doesn't mean that we don't support each other. I'm sure united ta wala palay festival nga makatukar ta tanandungan kay kiwa man if gig 5 bands ya sudlan nimog metal, hip hop,
Yeah.
ana lang ba logistical gid siya.
Okay. You mentioned earlier nga Con, it really feels like ang Cebuano scene karon, it's like starting to unify. Can you give us like more an example of how ngano nakaingon mo ana?
Right. So I mean, props to our brothers from Okaraga. First of all, okay, unify in the sense that I feel like the wave is heading towards that point. Okaraga, I don't know why they're not that big from a national perspective, but those guys are hitting it really big. Vismin, touring and all that. So that is a big Bisaya band. Now, from a language perspective, accepted na gid ang Bisaya, period. English band, nahuman na ang mga taga Manila at taga Mindanao, basta Cebu gani, kiwagi na sila, Inglesero gid ang taga Cebu. So, kansita ba? Mag-in-English ta, social, rich kid. Di, mangkod kabaw lang ta, ana ba? So, bands like Urban Dub, for instance, who paved the way, murag proven na nga kamao na ma-English ang Cebuano ug maayo. So, if Urban Dub did the English and a band like Okaraga or Missing Philemon are killing it in Bisaya, nihinog na ang both languages. I think the next step is the market acceptance. That's what I meant by unification.
Okay.
Nga, the audience is like, I could listen to English and it's a Bisaya band and I can listen to Bisaya, but taga Cebu na sila nga band. So in that sense, the market is accepting both.
I see.
Yeah. Murag market saturation kunuhay ba?
Check your time. It is now 10:45. A quarter more to go before 11 o'clock. You're listening to Top of the Morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice.
And my name is Chavi Boy.
And we have our friends here from the Qings live on 105.1 TMC. Text 0999-887-6070. Si Justin Narvios, naminaw ko na siya using her 5-minute break. Let's go, Cebu Music. Thank you so much. What's the goal? What's the goal for the Qings? What's the goal for Cebu Music? Is this to just be able to express yourselves as artists? Are you doing this one for art's sake? Is this is the goal to make music for the country, or do you have the world at your sites.
Wow, I love that.
What
I
is
love
going
that.
on, man?
So, meron mo ng super villain na music. But okay, personally, music is very redundant siya, but it's very personal. We do musicians or artists, we do what we do because we want to express a feeling. So in that sense, it begins with an expression, an art form. Now, with regards to the Kings, the goal is we want to express ourselves and have fun as five brothers. But at the end of the day, we also want to reach a wider audience because we feel like we have something more to say, not only with our music, but also our lyrics as well. Now, whether that is national, local, regional, or international, I think we'll leave that for time to figure out. But if as long as we're happy with what we're doing and we're not hurting ourselves doing it, I think that's a good start.
Would you like to add to that? Because whether you like it or not, I always say this, di ba, Ralph, nga, whether you like it or not, we're all addicted to this thing called food, di ba? Murag mangaon mo kita tanan, di ba?
Yeah.
And we need to have a roof over our heads too, and so on and so forth, and pay the bills. So, ang musician karon, especially dito sa Cebu, very few of us actually are making a living off of it, di ba? Murag nagitay side hustle, di ba? Natay
For sure.
gitawag nila og day job, di ba? But if you had a choice, if the Kings had a choice, I don't know if you guys are full-time bands or you have a side hustle or
Day job.
have a day job, right? If you had a choice, would you do this 100%? Like just nothing else but this, or is this one of those things that's considered like a kind of a hobby or something?
No hesitation. I always say during gigs na it's a joke, but it's also half meant. I'm like, hey, this is a real job at night. We're playing music, and we've got day jobs as our side jobs. So 100%. Personally, as Luis, yeah, this is full-time music for me. Fonso?
Yeah, it would be nice. It's a great question because while it's true now we have our side jobs, day jobs, but if we could live out of our passion for music, that's really great to have as well, our dreams and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well basically for me, if it's sustainable, then why not? You know, we love doing it, we enjoy doing it, especially the whole experience. I think believer ko, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah.
So mao na siya, I enjoy doing it, and if it was sustainable, I wouldn't hesitate.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you think you're I'm thinking about the support that we should need from our town, our place, our city, di ba? I feel like mura og lisod kayo ipanginabuhi sa art is because number one, I think daghan kay tag mga competitors nga international, for example, di ba?
Right.
And like it or not, you know, because of our colonial past, murag mas ganahan mo kita og kaning mga foreigner, di ba?
Yes.
Kanang
yes.
mga
Validation stuff.
ganahan tag mga international artists ba. In fact, very few are like 105.1 TMC in Cebu. I don't know if there's any 100% full on supporting local music. Kadaghanan sa mga radio stations sa Cebu until now in 2025 are still like very American or very British or whatever, right? O tagsa na kay mga bisdak pareha nato, di ba? So ang ato ang atong mga kaigsuunan are still still very the word is probably biased to international songs compared to local songs, right? Which is kind of tragic for me, right? So ang ako ang solution ana, my proposed solution to that, and I've said this many times, is ang mga local artists dili lang kay mo kanta ta, dili lang himo taganta, mangayo gid ang tabang. Marag kinasing-kasing bitaw nga, you know, if you want me to do this one forever, if you want me to do this one for a living and not have to do a side hustle, you know, support us, please. You know, I'm thinking of other solutions aside from the last common denominator, which is begging. Like,
Right.
So, how do you think can we develop a culture of support from within?
So support, Jig, ever since, I think there's always been support. Now I get where you're coming from an quote unquote industry perspective. Off the top of my head, it's really logistical. Cebu is small. We had this problem before where we'd gig and it diminishing returns in the sense that in 1 month we'd gig thrice. So obviously with Cebu's size or sample size of audience, they won't go to the same artist 3 times a month. So we had to space it out. So if we spaced it out, what follows is the momentum is not quite fast, unlike if you're doing this in the States, 50 states, several cities, night after night. So a lot of it is logisticals in Cebu. So I think Cebu has a shot. This is just me, doesn't represent the thoughts of the band or exporting. Cebu has always been an exporter. In the early 90s, we did Ratan and stuff. We had an exporting industry. If somehow the industry can figure out how to export Cebu music outside, the whole package, MV, looks, and all that, I think the streams will follow. Because it's a streaming generation right now.
Yeah.
Like, so we do the battle online. People will be like, hey, that's artist from Cebu. Cool, yung Cebu music. Then the support will follow.
Yeah, and to add on that, social media really plays a big role. Now in this time, before it would be hard to really promote Bisaya music.
Right.
But now that we have easy access to social media, that's one way that we could really expose our music faster to the public.
Right. So if you get stakeholders together, curate like stuff you really like that you think might be like of global caliber, which I'm sure there are a lot of Cebuano artists already existing, promoting them like a band from Cebu and playing them online with heavy airplay and stuff, that really helps the community. Kaysa diri ra taga mayar kayong Cebu, so medyo lisod gid siya logistically ba.
Yeah. And to excuse me. And to comment on katong gi-suggest mo gayon na Jiggy, I don't know if begging for views is necessarily, or listeners is necessarily the way to go. Kay hinumdum ko sa time nga Karen Sita was like asking for more support for local artists and all that. And ang public, I can remember ang public reception adto was kind of negative. Murag ang ilang view adto kay murag desperado kani.
Yeah. I mean,
nga naman na. Kay I'm really curious about that because if you watch and listen to a lot of content on social media, and mga yung gusto tabang ba lang mga podcasters ba, if you want to show your support, like if you want to if you want to be part of the community, you have to subscribe and all that stuff. So mga yung gusto support ba. And if now give me to the extent, if you want me to continue this, if you like this, please show your support because I can't do this one and not eat.
Yeah, you know what they say about respect? You earn it, but you don't demand it.
Yeah.
So it's something like that. Like as artists, and again, going back to Cebu being a small community, you gotta prove yourself. I mean, mao ni ang lore sa mga taga Manila nga, di ba? Namagin na sila when they perform in Cebu. Uy, ang Cebu, lisod ba kini nga audience, please. Unya, if makapasar ka sa Cebu, makapasar na ka rest of the Philippines, which is true. Grabe ang discerning tastes dire sa Cebu.
And one of the reasons for that, because we already had this conversation, I already had this conversation with a lot of people many times. The reason for that is because we're central, we're a hodgepodge of different cultures. So ang ato ang audience is not united. We're not one. So lain-lain tayong mga tastes and feelings, and our cultures are different. So kadaghanan sa atong mga kaigsuonan diri, half of us are actually not from here. We're here for work. We're here for school, di ba? Ang ato ang Cebu, di ba, kung mag Holy Week,
Muhawan.
Mamingaw, di ba? Kay manguli, masalik, eleksyon, mamingaw, di ba? Kay manguli man ang mga half of the Cebuano. So katong nga sa atong syudad is not from here. So muna siyang lisod guys siya i-please. Kay dili ta united ba? But when you look at the Cebu, your careers ba, do you just look at Cebu? Because I feel like there is a market for, let's just say, for example, Bisaya music, right? For let's say Visayas and Mindanao, di ba? And I think that is a thing now, di ba? Daghan man kayog mga kanang Okaraga, you mentioned they're not a national figure yet because they're a Visayas Mindanao band. Like people from the Visayas and Mindanao love this band.
Yeah, that's the thing. Who made up the nickname Vismin? They clustered us. There's Luzon and then there's Vismin.
Yeah.
So it's just the way things are really, and it goes it's the same thing around the world. Naagi North and Naagi South. But that said, it's a changing world. Alfonso brought it up. The internet is helping a lot. It's expediting kaning unification and progress and all that. So I guess at the end of the day, even though Cebu is a hodgepodge of cultures, it's good for us because of the testing and the pressure, the diamonds do come out, and the diamonds that do come out are really of international caliber. So grabe ang testing sa Cebu artists. Grabe gid kayo. In fact, sakto jigs, more promotion from stakeholders to support the local scene. You'd be surprised if you join like local gigs, makaingon gid kag ba nga wali ko kailan nila. Like I watched a metal gig fronted by a woman vocalist. First time ko kadungog, never heard of the band. Abot ko dito, mura kog na proud. Mura kog lapay tiran kana ganing pride nga I wanna promote their music to my friends. Metal band nga hard hitting, but nobody knows about them because people don't go to gigs. Actually, segue lang ko gamay. One problem is a lack of venue. Wala tay performance venue nga magka tukar tanan. So that's something that we need to address as a
But
city.
isn't that like a law of supply and demand? Like when you say lack of venues, what do you mean? Like we have venues, like for example here at Tops, and then we have venues sa Silong, di ba? We have
Sorry.
we have many venues, right?
If I may-
So what are you looking for in terms of venues?
If I may clarify, it's more of like an artist hub, like for a lack of a better term, a bar. A bar where people can park, where people can play multiple genres and not be ostracized for their particular genre. So artist hub nga manukaray ang gigs. Ang
More like a safe space, right?
like a safe space where on Mondays it's metal, on Tuesdays it's reggae.
But nakinumdum ko nga, these are just stories that I hear online, right? Nga, this is more of comedians, but I'm sure it applies to bands too. Nga, kung bago kang comedian, like you imong bairon, imong kagalingon, balabayan kag tamatis, and people hate you, and then you show up again tomorrow, but your material is different, and they kind of like you because murag imo nang input ilang mga suggestions and ilang recommendations and so on and so forth, and then you get better, and then you can perform out there in the world, bro. Na kay lugar nga you're not scared to be criticized, you're not scared to labayan kog tamatis or whatever. But at the end of the day, that's a place for you to sharpen your skills.
Hey man, that's a fantastic analogy kay even comedians have comedy bars sa gawas.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, wala ta na
Yeah.
kayo nga culture.
Correct.
So the comedy goes to TikTok and online.
Yeah.
So I think sakto na like parallel na siya sa Bisaya or sa Cebu ba nga naami instrument and we want to learn from experience. But we have school festivals and intrams only happens in August. Nga na gani. So
I think what we never talked about, I don't know if you guys are scared to talk about it, but people talk about it in the sidelines. Support of the government, right? Naaman ko yung mga silang Carl sa Mandawi Nights and the others.
I heard that interview,
in that same group. Naghisgot sila nga uban nga nasod kuno ang gobyerno. Grabe kuno kay suporta. They even have what they call, and you mentioned this earlier, export committee. Nga tanaw na to unsay mayo export nga product nga banda nato, unsay mayo export nga music or produkto nato, unya atong i-export, atong i-fund sila. There was an incident nga si Vincent Echo, I think, wanted to go to Japan and all of that
they
stuff.
They did crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding, the government didn't support him.
Yeah.
And grabe mo kay naka-epektibo ang arts of a nation. The arts of a nation, the how do you call this? The entertainment industry of a nation when it is brought outside of the nation, mura na siyang namaligya sa nasod, namaligya sa produkto o sa kultura sa nasod, di ba? Anya kung ganahan ka mo palit og make-up nga pina-Korean o maligya ka kimchi, mamaligya ka og kaning mga colorful outfits, then export your bands. So akong pasabot, grabe kini ka ang ambassadors ang mga banda for your nation. Murag soft selling ba, dili pa to hard selling bitaw. So why do you think the government has not caught on the actual profitability of supporting bands or artists?
So two things, and I have friends in government, we have family in government, so I don't mean this as a diss.
Okay.
But first of all, because of the bureaucracy, things take time in government. And now the number one, well, not number one, but one of the key criteria into green lighting a project is, as you mentioned, Jiggy, it's profitability. And unfortunately, these guys want to see the profitability first before support. So putting the horse in the carriage in front of the horse is not an option. So mao na siya, like, now can we blame the Cebu community nga wala kayo ni work nga mo na nga wala gi suportaan? Of course not. The Cebu community, the art community, the music scene, hardworking kayo. So the government, number one, mo to siya profitability, and number two, I think it's more of just having a dialogue. which the guys recently have been doing. There's
Yeah,
this ordinance about
correct.
Bisaya music.
Yeah. Councilor Joel Gaganera, I think,
Right.
sponsored a an ordinance nga requesting or recommending that the venues of Cebu, the hotels and restaurants, play local music.
Right, and I think the nice thing lang about, so the dialogue is a great first step towards achieving a good Cebu music scene. But I feel like what could help that is getting more stakeholders into that meeting room, in the sense to help flesh out the details of what we really want to achieve. For instance, when you say Bisaya music or Cebu music, people think Bisaya lyrics. But daghan kita good artists nga taga Cebu pero English.
Yeah, English
That,
yun, oh.
that also constitutes as Cebu music for me, or
Correct,
Bisaya
correct,
music for
yeah.
me. And that's something Adik Ayo clarified.
Yeah, so to add on to that, it's also trying to improve the system. We have, if just to pick on, or just to call, put on a nation an example, is Korea. You know, grabe na good what happened to BTS when they had to go to their military service. Supposedly, like, kung magana stricto magyuna silang time frame, or like, but the government really had to pass a law man siguro to extend their period gamay para ma-delayed sila gamay to enter the military service. Something like that. So Korea, for example, has really put up a proper system to really capitalize on
Yeah, but
the artist, the music
Pero
scene.
mo na siya, that takes years, decades, infrastructure.
So like putting on the stakeholders is good, but creating and improving the system is really important as well. So
Yeah, mo na siya anya kanang, of course, Korea sad is, I think what most of us fail to realize is these artists are actually products of public companies. So that's how the money rolls, like publicly traded companies. So grabe ang kwarta. But nagsugod gid sila sa uno.
Sakto ka, every businessman wants a proof of success,
Proof
diba?
of concept, yeah.
And you know, I'm not that old, but if I go back far enough, ang akong hinduman nga K-pop phenomenon was PSY, Gangnam Style, right? And for me, that was the proof of success. Nga, you can actually reach stratospheric heights in another market like the United States, right? He was #1 in Billboard, and so on and so forth. So nakakita ang gobyerno siguro, hey, there's potential here. So mag-unag yun ang success before they start funding, right? So
I think
but when I say funding ba, is it because it's not as easy as just funding, right? You have to tell the government, tell the people, what is this for? So if let's just say, granting you have a support system, let's say the government has allocated a certain amount, because I think whether we like it or not, I think we're talking about resources. You're talking about kaching, right? In terms of supporting the local music scene. So para unsa man na siya, if ever there's like a fund for local artists, what do we do with that?
Well, before you answer that question as well, I'd just like to point out that you have a fan who's joining our live right now. Si Grace A. Kibranza. Who says, great job, Kings.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Grace.
Kinsa man na si Grace, ha?
Kinsa ni si Grace do?
Fan, murag groupie na ninyo, groupie.
Mo na yun sa kanang unsa to ingon?
Sige, so
Dibito, hi ma.
Oy. So dili din ikaw, ma?
Ipos ang Risa sana wala yun. Ipos. Ako na lang kanan diri ah.
That's not her, eh?
No.
That's not Grace, eh? Alain is another girl, eh? Alain. Sige.
Number one na siya, number one.
Number one.
Yeah, okay.
So you were saying?
Yeah,
Para unsa magina, if ever manggali, let's just say, suportaan na sa gobyerno, nanay, go signal sa presidente or sa mayor or whatever, gobernador, unsa man atong unang nga pangainhanglan? What do we need first?
oh wow. Okay, so
Ano?
na ko ideas.
Well,
Kamusta una?
well, for me, going through the process, no, ang pag-record sa usa ka kanta, no, ang pag-record sa mga tracks, sa instruments, vocals, mixing, arranging, it's very costly. It's very costly. So I think that's one avenue for funds to go to. Kay para our music, it's not just performed once, it can be recorded and it can be exported outside as well. So I think that's one. Yeah.
Sakto pa. So I think I think there has to be like a program para na structure ba nga curated artist nga makapasar nga mag-grant siya, and hopefully walay bias kana yung gi-curate gid siya sa community ba. And then annual para malahi-lahi ang artist every year nga ma-grantan. And then one saktos Paulo nga I think recorded content.
You know, I know of a place that actually does exactly that. And in fact, I'm going to bring him here live in 105.1 TMC. His name is Mel Libre, live from New Zealand. Good morning, Mel. Or good afternoon, Mel.
Am I in?
Yes, you're in. Mel Libre, meet the Kings.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Naghisgot man gud mi
Hello.
og funding ba
Kiora.
Kiora. Naghisgot man mi og funding
Yeah, ora.
from government ba. Unya nakinumdum ko nga naa sila funding system diya sa New Zealand nga
Yes.
pare-pareho sa hisgutan sa banda. Tell us about how the local artists support the bands of New Zealand or artists of New Zealand.
We have a group called a government-funded program called NZ On Air. And NZ On Air is funded annually by the government. It's in the appropriation. Kung doon na may pork barrel ang mga congressman, ngari, why pork barrel? Apan na ay money set aside sa NZ On Air. NZ On Air, doon na siya yung mga different like television, movies, music. And then this music group, they pick up people who are kanang respected in the field, no? Meaning to say that it's not the politicians who will decide. Rather, it is a board or a committee of people who are not biased, no? And very open-minded. So and then they have different categories, as was what was discussed earlier. Na ay different categories: reggae, children's music, rock music, pop music, electronic music. So you submit your songs there, and then at the end of a quarter, for instance, they come out with a list of 20 people or 20 artists who are given a budget of $15,000, no, to produce their song, and it's even increased if it's an album. And finally, they also have a fund for artists to go overseas to perform in kanang mga festivals so that they can promote further New Zealand music. So that's a brief background on NZ On Air.
Kanang the song "The Royals" by what's her name again? That New Zealand artist Lord. Yeah, Lord. Completely forgot. I was googling her name. Is actually a product of that system, right? Am I correct, Mel?
Well, partly yes. Well, she started as an independent artist.
Okay.
You know, and as a kwarto nimo, gimong kanta, and gimong royals, and after which suddenly
Sa Mel, murag na-mute ka, Mel. Hold on, Mel. Na-mute man si Mel. Anyway, our time now, it is 11:09. Yes, Mel, continue, Mel. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying.
yes. So she was an independent artist, and then after which she had funding in some of her succeeding songs, and even popular artists like popular artists here, they also submit their songs. No, kay mahal diya ang paghimo og kanta. So one of the things that the artists need is really kanang financing. Ang sa Pilipinas, good, for instance, sa Cebu, no, I'm more focused on Cebu. The only one which is consistent is the Cebu Pop Music Festival. Ang Cebu Pop Music Festival, they have yearly competitions and doon naging kwartang ihatag sa winning entry. But there is no kanang impartial committee or body which will help develop local artists. And I think that's what the Quebranza brothers are looking for, di ba?
Hello, sir. Colleague dito sa una sa Sunstar.
Oh yeah, hi.
Hello. Yeah, true. It's fantastic to hear that. I have no idea that's the program in New Zealand, and the best thing of all is that it's tried and tested. So Cebu lawmakers or stakeholders can, take a look at that program and apply what's applicable here in Cebu. And I think that will help because, like what I mentioned, the talent is here. Naagyud talent. And we cannot also blame the government for quote unquote lack of support because the government is, it's a public office and they have matters that require attention immediately, like flooding, for instance, or whatever. So music, it's kind of a long shot, but if they
Kind of frivolous, right? If you think about it. But ang pangutana sunod ani is economic benefits. Mel, nabay economic benefits ang ang gibuhat sa gobyerno nga mag-fund sila og mga artists, and it'll produce artists like Lord and so on and so forth. Na ba siya, are they looking at the economic benefits of this quote unquote investment?
Well, sa akong paminaw is primarily it's just them trying to develop and help the artists grow into to become popular. I think that's the primary one. In relation to kanang money coming back, it's not coming back to the NZ on air because it's funded by the government, but it goes to the artist. So if the artist becomes popular, like for instance Lord, well, she gets royalties, she gets gigs, etc., and she pays taxes back to the government. So that's the way it is. One of the most famous artists who was a great export of one country and helped the economy was ABBA. Way back in the 70s, ABBA was the most famous earner of dollars for the country. Sweden man tingin sila, no? So they were the export. So it just needs one artist to create a name and bring money into the economy of a nation.
Even one of the biggest reasons why a lot of younger people want to go to New Zealand is because of a movie, right? What is that movie again?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, right? And they want to go to that place where they shot Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth, right? Someone,
Yes.
go ahead, Mel. You were about to say something.
Yes. It's very good that you mentioned Lord of the Rings because partly NZ on air helped finance kanang Lord of the Rings, no? And the government, the parliament even came out with a specific law giving incentive, no? To the Lord of the Rings, katong the second part na katong the third, the second trilogy, the government set aside, gave an incentive because there was another country wanting the film to be made in Europe, and so the government countered so that the filming of the movie will be here. And kining something Avatar, Avatar is partly funded by NZ on air, and it's been here for the last 10 to 15 years already. Even that Cameron, the director, is living in New Zealand already and has bought properties, and they've been doing the film for how many years now? 15 years na tingali, and that is earning money for New Zealand in terms of helping the economy and jobs for people.
Grabe jud kay makatabang ang paghimo usa ka music video or movie sa usa ka lugar. Kinumdum ko, I don't know if you remember this, Mel. Apocalypse Now, that movie with Marlon Brando, was actually shot in the Philippines, right? And it actually spurred the economy of that particular region. I think it was in Palawan, if I am not mistaken. It wasn't in Davao. I'm not sure now. But more ang basabot ba? It may seem frivolous. It may seem, hey, we have priorities here. We have to, poverty and floods and traffic and so on and so forth. But if you see the big picture, like what he has discussed, Avatar, Lord of the Rings, like Lord, then it's not so frivolous after. It's actually an investment.
Exactly. It takes patience. It's the long game, and that's something we need to learn. Patience.
Yeah. And speaking of bands, we have in the studios 105.1 TMC. You guys have time, ba?
Yeah, for sure.
We can talk forever.
Forever.
Luis and the rest of the Quebranzas live here of the Qings. We also have our good friend here who's also from the music industry. I'm not sure where he is. Asan si Dapita? Kuyugan na siya og abogado. Ano ka basig nasiguro ni si Winbert siguro. Winbert Chua is from the band kaning A to Z. I don't know if you guys know A to Z. Together with his lawyer friend Jingo Quijano. Jingo and Winbert meet the Quebranzas, meet the Qings, and meet Mel Libre from New Zealand.
Good morning, Your Honors. Respectfully appearing as counsel for Winbert Chua.
Unsa may sa ani ni Winbert attorney? Nganong
ako
na
bisag ito.
nganong naaman siya sa imong tapad karong buntaga. Unsa man nakaunsa nam sa ni?
Member mi sa LGBT karon. Kanang gitawag na mo lami gihapon bisan tigulang.
So naghisgot man gud mi diri og tabang ba? Ikaw diha Winbert imong banda A to Z started back in the if I'm not mistaken the 80s and the 90s, di ba?
80s,
And
yeah.
tell
Late
me
80s.
tell me about that point in time ba when it comes to being an artist ba. Unsa may what kind of support did you guys have or did you guys just spend your own money to make your album because I know eventually you got signed by a recording label, right? Tell me about the A to Z journey. Tell us kids here including the Kings and Mel, we feel like kids too. Tell us about how you did it. Go ahead.
Yeah, through recording, you have to spend money because we're into national man during that time. So di mahimo away kwarta yun. Nakagid.
Just the background,
Negosyo man na. Oh, negosyo.
Winbert.
Yes, klaro. Madungog ko.
Madungog raman. Yes. Go ahead, Mel.
Jigs, just to tell you, I was the one who managed the very
Oy.
first edition
First.
of A to Z.
Yes.
The
With the help
Winbert
of
came,
Attorney Mel Libre. Yeah. He's our manager during that time.
actually long before New Cebu Music. I had these guys together. Wala pa si Winbert ato. And then what had happened is they came to me and they said that they wanted to record original songs way before New Cebu Music. And I love these guys nga who had that idea of making original songs. Mo tong magandang umaga Pilipinas. Actually, we joined a contest called Band Explosion, and they became first runner up man ito sila ato. Anyway, what had happened is then eksakto nang ingon ni Winbert nga it costs a lot to record an album. So because of kisa tingay nga sa bass player nato
Si Emmanuel de la Torre.
si
Emmy.
Yes.
Yes.
Si Emmy and the brother akatong mga igsuon, they went to Manila. I joined them and we recorded an album for about a week.
For 1 week only.
And then we had to do it a week because ang among budget was good for a week only. And
Yes.
after that, we had an album. I tried to sell the album to a record label, but I failed to do it. So what had happened is, sadly, they left me because I failed, and they were able to get a record deal with Arts Mantingali or I don't know, Dyna, and then that's the story. And after which, the second album or third album, Winbert came in. Diba?
Yeah. We went to Alpha Records and then 1994, I think Dyna Records.
Kani sila ni Winbert og si lang Mel Libre. They've been in the music industry for a long time. Mel Libre was one of the people who was behind A to Z and so on and so forth, right? Akong pangutana sa the Kings who are here live in the studios of 105.1 TMC is, do you study Cebu music ba? Or how do you know, where do you get your perspectives of how to make it in Cebu, the Cebu music scene?
First of all, hi ni Sir Winbert and Attorney Jingo. We're big fans of unsa sa day sir ni Julia Q. Amo unang kauban diri. Having said that, yes, back to your question, Jiggy. So actually, the talk brought back memories because from a band perspective, our dad jammed really closely with the guys of Z Band. I don't know if you guys remember sila Tito Oscar, Tito Roland, and sila Tito Alex. Mona sila before. So we used to watch kanang music lounge pa nga kanang manukar ba. And then my teacher said, I don't know asa ni siya nga generation pero si Abyss kani si Edgar.
Oy.
Oh, man akong maestro sad sa guitar.
Really now?
Yeah.
Si Edgar ba? Edgar ko na ilang maestro sa gitara ko no, Winbert.
Shout out
Anciano?
si Eds Anciano ba? Oh, kana. So
okay.
back in the day, and then when we started the scene back into mga mura naman mig fifth gen siguro. So ayan na ba, so I hear stories about kaning sakto ba BTU?
BTU. Before BTS, there was BTU.
Of course 40 the band kana sila 40 the band unya nag-40 naman na mo to pagsugod na mo sa giging scene 40 na sila anot ana ba. So I do hear stories and I'm very kanang grateful for these artists ba nga who showed us the way. And ang nakanindot yun sa today, and I hear this from katong si parokya, si Chito ba, sa parokya ni Edgar nga, kung tanaw ninyo, golden age o na, karon ang golden age. Mura siya na equalizer ang internet ba. Di na good may dapat mo largag Manila. Mo ta ko pasabot sa exporting music. Kaya from Cebu, ari na lang gasto diri, ang kwarta na pa diri, tuyok pa diri, and then online, tabangan lang yun na to promote. So that's it.
Your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on that? You know, kanang internet, I've always viewed it as an instrument, but also as a trap. It's a trap because, sure, you have the medium to promote your music worldwide, but you're also competing with the world, right? So kung sa Pilipinas, kung sa Cebu, imong mga kompetensya, kailaran nimo sa Manila, kailaran nimo, pero abot na sa kalibutan, wa nakakabaw kasi imong mga kontra. You have 8 billion people to contend with. So mas lisod yun niya siya. So what do you think is the strategy? Tanaw ninyo.
We mentioned a while ago that also mentioned sa nila Sir Wilbert na they had to write record songs first, diba? And I think that's important na just like sa West na sila Abbey Roads, sa Manila na sila
Wildgrass.
Yan na ba?
Wildgrass.
So I think Cebu dagan ta may mo
wildgrass
mix may mo mix of music, produce of music, but you know, to put them together in one big studio, helping musicians here in Cebu produce like quality sound would really help.
Jig, in the context sa DI ba, dili sa ang what we learned sad from our kanang peers na who went before us in terms of gigging and stuff, what we learned is there's nothing beats community. Kay mo release ka kanta online, like what you mentioned, 8 billion imong kontra. Unya, may na lang na kay usa ka view, duha ka view, pero if mo respeto kas community, you play the gigs here, you record here, naagid mo show up sa imong shows, and who likes your stuff. So when you publish that online, na kay backer ba to use lack of a better term, na kay backer nga from the community.
Na kay support group, di ba?
Yeah, cause like a lot of kids, the music they create out of their bedrooms.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could do that, but you kind of have to also be part of the community. You meet people, you join the gigs. Okay, that's how you
Sorry, man, what is that?
No, sorry. That's how you build grassroots support, and nothing beats grassroots support.
That's absolutely correct. In fact, there is a grassroots programs for sports, dancing, running, and other sports, right? Nga nag-adtog sila sa mga barangay. Unya, suportahan gyud, tagaan sila training and all of that stuff. We have a comment here. Is this on TikTok?
Yeah, this is on Facebook. Actually,
go
we
ahead,
have a comment from who I believe is another one of the Quibranza siblings, si Jun.
Okay.
He
Jun?
says, Mr. Mel Libre is speaking loud and true. Kudos. When it comes to promoting homegrown talents and culture, the government should not focus primarily on immediate economic benefits. The true value lies in nurturing national identity, supporting creativity, and strengthening community pride. Economic gains will naturally follow as a result of sustained cultural investment daw.
Sakto sad. Attorney Jingo, napaka di attorney. Mangutana ko nimo Attorney Jingo Ikiano kay naamgyud ka sa experience sa gobyerno, di ba? Unsa may tanaw nimo kaning atong mga gipanghisgutan karong buntaga ba? Is it kaning mga lofty pipe dreams ni siya or naa ni pag-asa nga mahitabo gyud ni siya?
Oh no, Jing. On the contrary, I always believe manggod nga if you love what you're doing, and then success will eventually follow. Lisod manggod kay na nga your pathway is financial first, no? So I hear these artists and the Qings, and then they take ta sa lead sa atong mga pioneers na like Mel and Wilbert. Na akong daughter si Julia Galay, she is also a budding artist. In fact, she's in Manila right now, work for work. But I tell her nga always explore the market but be true to yourself. Okay? Di ba? Usay ang adage na nga, if you love what you're working, if you for a living, then you don't feel like it's work. So ideally for us musicians, nindot kay na nga we are getting paid to do what we love. Mura bag basketball player ba? Masuya lang tani lang LeBron James kay duwag basket nga. Daw kay bayad. But that's the ultimate goal, di ba Mel? Katawa si Mel, di ba? Who doesn't want to be paid while doing what they love?
That's right. By the way, Jingo is a musician himself, no? Naka-jam ni kausa sa IBP. Kanta mi YouTube.
Kuyawa na mga abogado nga mukanta. Actually ganang hisgutan ni mga lugar bitaw. The place that you can record and hang out. I know somebody who's building that place. I'm going to tell you off cam.
All right.
And off mic for that. We convened a few days ago. Hi, Daddy. According to Julia. Hi kuno Dad. Naminaw si Julia nimo karong buntaga, Dad. Oh, kanis.
Dati na tayo.
Kuyaw kay kanta tinaguay.
Hi, ate.
Kuyaw kay kanta. Controversial kayo kanta niya nga magtinaguay magid ba Sam ni sila. Anyway, so unsa man ninyo ang mga sunod nga mga gigs, Kings, naamoy mga performances lined up. Go ahead.
Sa pagkakaroon kay in line sa tong gipang discuss, nag-record gid mi.
Okay. Nagunsa?
Record.
Nag-record
So
mo.
focus mi sa studio. We
Okay.
have mga pila 4, 5 kakanta. Pero amo ni siyang strategy gawas nga i-single bal kaning uso karon nga 1 song per 3 to 4 months. So we're very focused on the song or the track, and then we also play gigs but dili siya kanang pwesto nga na ay regular schedule.
Yeah.
We play gigs sometimes sa kaning sa Mango Square or kanang outside or inside. So mag-agad mi sa mga production kung ano sa mga invitation mga maybe Christmas and Sinulog, definitely. Yeah.
So but I see a lot of bands and artists, solo artists who have websites and Facebook pages and Instagrams and TikTok accounts that have regular performances, or at least naslay pang release dito whatever it is related to the band. Do you have anything like that? And can they watch you guys perform every once in a while live on the socials?
Yeah, we do have we also have live performances recorded, which we are scheduling. I think we have 2 na padong pa na mag-release.
Yeah.
As per kanang live gyud nga venue, kay we're trying out something new lang for the Kings lang nga it's kind of like listening parties where tambay gid siya lingaw-lingaw and then maybe acoustic ana, but wala pa mi kanang murag schedule gid like a gig per se. I was supposed to talk with a venue about the gig, but then unfortunately that venue closed. Naghilom ra sila wa kanila gi-announce, so murag well, sige lang, like we'll see where to next.
Kaning A to Z unsa man ni na magkurom na pod mo balik, Winbert? Na magkurom na pod mo unsa man ni, or wala na?
Maybe next year murag ika 40 years na mo sa A to Z. So we will release a new single.
Okay.
But this time, for after 40 years, murag Bisaya among himupon nga kanta.
Nice.
Kay during that time, nagnational man mi, so wag gyud may kahimo og Bisaya nga kanta. So Tagalog, English ra gyud mi.
I have a question with Winbert, Akira.
Go ahead, Mel.
Winbert, tell us about your last single, no, which is Tabang.
Tulong Tabang. Yeah.
Probably you should tell us about that. Unsay may topic ana ngano man to?
It's about
Tabang.
mental health. It's
Tabang.
about mental health to siya.
Tulong Tabang.
Kay kami man ko sa A to Z, wa na mi kahimo og mga love songs. Kay katong kantaha para to sa during sa lockdown sa katong kuan, itong nitabo na to sa kining COVID na to. So mo to siya daghan affected ato.
About mental health.
About mental health to siya. It's about mental health.
Was it played in some radio stations?
Not yet. Wa pa na ko
Uy,
forward sige.
Ihatag na nako na unsa mental health magana ka. If it will help your mental health, Winbert, if I will play it. Ang ato ang takna karon 30 minutos nang milabay sa alas 11 na minaw mo sa pinaka sugbuanon nga radio station sa Tanan 105.1 TMC. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice. Right beside me is
Chubby boy.
in front of the studios we have the Kings, the Quebranza Boys. And we have somebody from New Zealand, Mel Libre of the BORI Global, and we have Attorney Jingo Quijano and Winbert Chua of A2Z. Asa man mo dapita ron? Naamo sa Siargao karon?
No, Jig, naami diri sa coffee spot in Mango Avenue.
Walay nangita ni Winbert yan. Daghan na pa kayo mangita ni Winbert yun.
Actually,
Kidnap.
naano siya permit diri. So, katong mga naay gusto
Atraso niya, oh.
Mag-autograph ni Winbert, ari lang mo diri ha. Pero katopong mga naay korektahonon ni Winbert, sagan po niya makitaan.
Si Julia Quijano, si Julia Q, attorney, asa man siya mutukar? Na siya scheduled performances or maybe if you want, they can go to their her website and perhaps Spotify and all. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jig. I think she was here in Cebu. I think she played 3 weeks ago.
Correct,
She had, 3 gigs here.
Mm.
And then she's back in Manila. But you follow yung guys, yung schedule sa yahang socials.
Kani bang...
Probably I'll ask Jingo.
Go ahead.
Did you discover the talent of your daughter early on, or did you cultivate her artistry?
Yeah, I have a very interesting story on Ani Julia.
Go ahead.
She's our eldest. So when her mother would sing lullabies to hum her to sleep, she was like siya, mga less than 6 months old. I noticed she would pick up the humming from her mom. One time nakatulog na yung mommy. And then nakadungog yung kog na nag So ang bata naman dahil nagkanta, ang mommy na natulog.
Uy, kuyawa good. So diha ni mo na-discover nga singer gyud si Julia di ay?
Yeah. Nalagid siya ear.
Nalagid siya talent.
Tugid ko.
Uy, kani day si Winbert di ay chorister din sa USC di ay. Nay ni greet ni mo diri Winbert si Cindy Seno.
Wow.
Regards to Winbert Chua, fellow USC choristers.
Wapa kayo na Cindy.
Oh, basta gibola lang nimo kay nanay paningil nimo diha Winbert.
Uy, taga Petrobank na.
Atayay, samot taga bangko. So kani silang Winbert diha, napay mga daghan kay mga actually mga banda nga ang ilang experience is chorister, USC choristers, right? Kamu ba like as musicians ba, aside from being very supportive in yung mga parents, like did you have any like singing background like Winbert Chua here was a part of the USC choristers katong Bright Bethany, right? It was like a church band, am I right? Would you say that?
No, actually we started Bethany pero naa may background playing sa among church. And then we started Bethany, we wrote songs to molagito how we wanted to translate our emotions back then. Pero mo na siya, dito siya Christian band, pero we were actively playing sa church.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for the Kings now, ikaw Fonske.
Well,
may addition.
sa akong background noon, I used to be part of the USJR choir.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
So that's my
Singing background.
Singing
Oh.
background.
Nasa di katong Bethany si Luis, Angelo and Paulo, we were Bosconians. So sa Don Bosco sports maginog music.
Correct, yeah.
So magsige migtukar sa mass.
I remember that, yeah.
And it was very liberating in the sense that our priests back then would just give us the freedom to create, like ang power of your love usbo na mong version, ang Lamb of God usbo na mong version. So that really cultivated as well a lot of our talent back in the day.
We have a comment here from C Madera. Unsa
Yeah.
ni siya, wala jud na nahitabo nga kwarta usa dayon himo og kanta. Invest gyud ka sa if namo i-produce diha ang kwarta og bahin sa ngano dili magkausa kay tungod lain-lain jud og gusto ang tao. Can you read the other sentence?
Yeah, ang next comment niya kay sakto gyud na nang adto pa og Manila para lang mag-record og kanta. In short, dako kayo gasto sa pag-record lang. Karon sayon na lang kaayo pag-record compare sa una.
But I'm curious ba, like I've always wanted to imagine like ako a banda ko ba if I had a band or if I was a singer. If there's a place here mo tunga lang ka galito mo tukar ka. Can you do that ba in Cebu? Like What I mean by that is na venue bangan, ready na ang sound system, ready na ang microphone, unya moingon ka nga na ako'y bagong kanta, you know, you're like a famous band, like the Kings for example. Moingon na sa venue nga, ang sa mo mura sa moabli alas 5, karong alas 6, mo kanta ko I'll sing my original song. Is that okay? Can I announce it to the world? Inana bitaw nga type nga free ra mo motukar, unya paghuman bonus lang na sa mga kaning patrons of the venue nga makakita ninyo.
Yeah, it's kind of like the open mic culture.
That one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's
Wala
not
tana.
like a wide practice
Okay.
because like the venues here are run on strict programming. So, of course, gibayaran sa nila ilang banda
Correct.
dito.
Oh.
So, ganahan gid nila masulit ilang gibayaran nga banda. Marginana ang aspect ba. Now, I believe there are some cases, especially if singer, like vocalist lang ka, o niya, ang backing band, abtik, moingon nga, can you play this song? Oh, kanta rin siya. Na yung mga nana, pero kung original, lisod, like, not unless na acoustic or magdagid kag acoustic, o niya, murag daghang elements into play ba. Now, is there a venue nga maog yun na ang cater nga market sa pagkakaroon, murag wala pa 100%?
Maghimot ang ng venue. You're about to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say ang short answer ato na question is a no.
No, a hard no. Wala gid ay.
Legal man gud ni, so unsa ba?
Wala venue gyud nga para ni ana. Yes, Mel and Winbert and Attorney
Sige,
Jingo,
sige.
go ahead.
You asked about katong doon na ba background sa kanang mga choristers or choirs, no? I know for a fact that I think there was a grand celebration of the USC choristers
Correct.
a few weeks ago. No?
Mm.
So let's congratulate them. But
Congratulations.
one of the things, Nako, is I was rejected by the USC choristers. When I was first year or second year sa San Carlos,
How dare they?
ngadto ko atubangan moadto man ka ni Ricardo Narciso.
Yeah, Professor Ricardo Narciso.
Yeah, so ningo man na wanted ka na mga new member. Ngadto taon ko. Kanya atubangan ingon si Narciso, "Sige kanta nga na, you sing." Kanta ko song solo Pagkahuman niingon siya nga sorry. Hindi ko madawat. But sometimes kining mga
This is loss.
sometimes failure makes you want to work harder. So salamat ni Professor Narciso for rejecting me.
We
Pwede
have
pa
some
tama final damages na Mel?
Atong pilot kaso do.
Kuya Juan na. We have according to attorney, according to Julia Quijano, na ako na siya gig puhon sa Manila. Si DJs Monkey Aninyon Cuerpo, maayong buntag ninyo, daghang salamat sa inyong pagtanaw. Leds Lee, Rosalie Lumakad Humawan, and Marmis Rosemar Librando, Nel Joseph, favorite professor na nako hakit sa may professor diri. Sa may professor ni
Si Nel.
Mel.
Ay, Nel.
Yeah, professor na si Mel.
Professor Mel.
So kaning
I used to teach sa USC College of Law.
Pwede mo na tawag og kuan, Dr. si Attorney Mel, Dr. Music.
ang kanibang sound to the Kings ba? When I first heard the song Samantha, it sounded familiar but new. I don't know if you can justify those two desperate statements. So, amora siya, what is that? Can you describe to us the sound of the Kings?
Okay. So the Kings is we aim to be a pop rock band. Now we share having our roots from Bethany, which is a rock band. The instrumentation influences like I think sila Winbert and si Attorney and si Mel can know this in the sense that we're big U2 fans. So we grew up listening to that, Karon Coldplay and stuff, but now we're listening to newer stuff like Keshi, Bieber and stuff like that. Now having said that, the Kings want to be able to fuse all of those sounds, no? Lyrically, musically, or organic but still polished for pop radio. So Samantha in particular is the very first sampling of what the Kings want to be moving forward.
Okay.
It may not be the epitome of the sound that we're looking for, but it's a step in the right direction in the sense that it's fun and it has a good melody. Simple as that. Yeah.
Is it a good thing? But because I remember before, you have to have like a sound, right? Like you can be describe as a rock band. You're like an R&B band, right? But there are artists like Prince, for example, who was an R&B band, but he did rock and roll well too, and so on and so forth. He was experimenting many genres, right? Karon ba in 2025, nakabantay ko nga ang mga rock ron is not the rock as we know it. Murag nag-usab na sila. Murag it's more, I don't know, the sound is so much different now. Do you think it is still a thing to be associated with a genre, or is it best that you're just associated with music in general, and then you have certain fans, and then you don't have to be in a specific genre. You don't have to be categorized. You don't have to be boxed in. Okay, I don't know how important the charts are now, because back in the day, it used to be very, very important. Kanang mga charts, mga Billboard charts. I don't know if it's still important. Ang tuyuan ng ihimo kag or ibut na kag usa ka genre magud para mabutang kanila asa nga chart, di ba? But is it still crucial now to belong to a genre? And is it still important now to be in the so-called charts, if there's such a thing now?
Right. Number one, I will defer to what si Attorney Jingo mentioned, that if you like or you enjoy what you're doing, it's not work at all. So as artists, number one, di ka mag agad kung unsay sikat mo imo sound, medyo the priority may not be that pure ba. So because like as artists or musicians, you play what you listen to growing up. That's why culture plays a part. Kung sa Cebu, relax ka imo music, relax. Ana kung murag na kay kalagots kinabuhi, medyo maka-find kag peace with rock music, so rocker ka. So it's what you do growing up. So are genres important? Technically, from a chart perspective, no. But from an identity perspective, yes. Because like what I mentioned earlier, attraction comes first with visual or what you hear. So genre, importante, good. Like mabito na nga makadungog kag guitars nga delay, U2. Or kanang makadungog kag, unsa man, mga Chris Martin, kailan na kag Coldplay. So, you know, to differentiate yourself from the 8 billion competition, the genre or the trademark sound is important. And I think that's one of the best parts of being an artist. Nga, it may be simple music, G, D, E minor, C, acoustic guitar, but if you write it in such a way nga ang tao makaingon, hala, kaila lagi ko ani, familiar lagi na. Mga na ang art, dili ang art sa kapaspasay sa kamot or sa pagrabihay og litok. Ang art is how you craft your own sound. That's it for me.
That's the art. Yes, go ahead.
Just a question sa Roman Musikero dire ba, no?
Go ahead.
I had this very interesting conversation with a musician from Europe, one of my clients. He was scared at some point, no? Okay, all the chord patterns have already been played. Because good na music, no? So katong mention sa Qings nga, the C, A minor, F, G is a staple of Western pop. Basic makina nga mga chord patterns. So, are you scared that at some point gamay na lang jud kay tao wiggle room, I call it, for discovering new songs? Like you can only just add more guitars or tweak the sound, even ang beats, 16th beat, 8th beat, everything has been discovered. And then i-relate mo sa AI. Ingon siya nga, AI could potentially be, could chart us to new paths. Kay AI kuno is now capable of making even new chemical compounds. Ang atong chart ba, no? Himo na siya bag-o nga element.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
That's the potential. That's the potential kuno nga. It's possible kuno it be applied to music. And I think it's a theory pwede. Ako I don't know what you think. Partially agree ko nga murag almost to the brim na ta kay I hear catchy chord progression kay ko pareha ni siya ni pareha ni ana. But you can't help kay puro mata musikero. Sa imong dunggan makadungog yung kag something similar. So I don't know, what's your take, guys?
Turns, thank you for that question. First kay ang music man good, cycle man good. Like mura siya kung a decade back EDM was the rave. Grabe, kami nga banda-banda naglisod mig pangitag festival nga makatukar og gitara kay puro DJ, no? But right now, Ben and Ben, kinsa pa, December Avenue. So nibalik ko so in the sense of cyclical, there will always be an opportunity for songwriters or artists. In terms of chord progressions, yes, there is that fear as a songwriter myself, murag nagamit naman tanan guys, what's new? But then mo segue ko gamay, mo digress ko to AI. Tinuod gyud biya na that's why community support is important kay sa computer daghan mo kontra butangan pa mo AI nga chart topping. So importante mo tukar gyud mo locally para mailhan gyud mo ba. Now going to the song, turns ka ng di ko mahadlok in the sense that the proof here is C, D, G, E minor gigamit sa golden nga kanta nga porting sikata karon sa K-pop Demon Hunters, and I'm a big fan of that show. I'm a big fan of the music. But listening to the song, refresh ko, but I did not, if you told me to C, D, G, E minor, ma-discourage ko. Pero kung wako kibaw sa chords, kaingon ko, behind chart topper ligi niya. Mora gyapon nga chords gigamit. So naagid sa production of delivery at the end of the day. And lyrics, I think the lyrics are important. Kaya even if moingon kag I love you ika 1960s o 2020 og I love you pero lahig tono, lahig delivery, murag naagi something nga mo tatak gid sa audience in that time and era ba. So to answer the short question, napay pag-asa.
So it more or less pushes us to be more creative.
I guess, yeah, in a way, yeah.
To clarify also, I don't think chart toppers siya necessarily. I think it was just like Spotify, like the number of plays. Like ang weekly nga ko aniya, like it reached top 1 on the most played sa Spotify. I don't know if it was a chart necessarily, but I remember it was
Billboard mo siguro ang ansa?
A Billboard bud?
Ang katong golden sa K-pop.
I remember one of the characters of Despicable Me when he said, the villain, he said, presentation, 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 right? So, nagbalik-balik na natin ang mga chords. Yeah, everything's ever been done, has already been done. You know, this is not the first time that we've heard rock and roll. But if you present it well, if you present it in a way that people want, then they might like it, right? So, akong pangutana ni ba, na mga phenomenon like love notes, like si kisa na siya, Elijah JTV, kisa na siya?
Elias.
Kalimot ko siyang pangalan. Elias JTV. Kani sila ba? Kani silang mga bandaha, kani silang mga artista, ilang pangkanta, mga cover songs, right? Unya paghuman si Elias, I think came up with a new one just a few weeks ago called Lipad, but that's one of a rare, that was a rarity ba? Unya, they've already, to me, cracked the code in terms of how to become popular on social media. Kaya grabe man kayo sila kasikat, diba? So, that's part of presentation, di ba? We're all narrative builders man, di ba? We like to follow stories. We don't necessarily follow people. We follow their stories, di ba? So kani sila naka-build na silang narrative kaya naman sila social media presence. Niya paghuman inigtungan nila sa lugar, sikat kay sila tanan kay nagsunod-sunod man sila sa banda or sa artist sa ilang social media, right? So do you think this is a way and do you necessarily like this path of kaning becoming a popular artist, if that's one of the goals, to use social media as an instrument, not just to play music, but also to let people know who you are as individuals?
Yeah, it's a great strategy. Nothing wrong with starting out with covers. I mean, it depends on the artist's goal.
Okay.
If your goal is engagement, enjoying, cover. Maayo kay ka, go for it. If your goal is to present yourself as an artist, you can write original songs. If you wanna fuse both kanang goals, ka mo start kas cover and then mo shift ka to original artist, there's a bit of a challenge kay basin ma-typecast ka ba? Or kanang I like her for her covers niya original, okay lang. So mao lang na problema if you do that route. Daghan mang pamaagi, and there's nothing wrong really. Just mo na, I circle back to what si attorney said nga, kung if you love what you're doing, barug gina kay why maka unsa ni mo na barug mo na.
Pero yeah, social media will really play a big role, and I mentioned this before na that's something that na wala sa una and naakaron, and it's really important now we really find a system where we can really showcase our product, our music better para kanang maganado pud ang like the people outside foreign.
You know, there was one evening random evening, I wanted to listen to original music. So akong gibuhat, nagsuri-suri ko sa Cebu. Nagsuri-suri ko ngadto ko sa mga bars, restaurants, o mga hotels, and so on and so forth. Puros man cover bands gyapon. Like I thought we'd change, because I know this was true years ago. Decades ago even. But karon magbalik-balik unsa man I thought we've already graduated from that. Why is it that we still don't have an appetite for original music, generally speaking? Or maybe I went to the wrong places lang siguro ba? What do you think?
We just don't have the places lang. Well, for me, I know wala pa kayo diri sa city venues like what you mentioned where people just go into the place, the venue, and just play a song or play
original songs.
songs. Wala pa yun.
Yeah. So we're considered a tourist hub, a tourist city, right? Daghan man kay tayong mga turista diri. So could it be nga kaning mga hotels and restaurants and bars, they're playing for the tourists and not for the locals? But on the other hand, if I'm a tourist, kung adto ko sa ka restaurant o sa ka hotel, ganahan ko maminaw og kantang wa ko kadungog oy. Ganahan ko maminaw siguro og kanang mga tribal music or whatever, right? Something that's organic to the city. Sakto ba ilang basa sa market nga kung turista ganahan maminaw og kaning mga cover songs instead of local music? Kaya ako kung turista ko moadto ko og Thailand, maminaw ko og kaning aban unsa nga kapuyan mga aba man kadiya nga nam ko sa Thailand, ganahan ko maminaw og Thai music, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. What is wrong with that thinking?
Yeah, I think that's correct, Mansad. Kay I think like we props lang po to the prods right now in Cebu City. Nagi uban really pushing events as much as possible monthly, pero not as much pa na whenever you want to go out at your time na makakita ka dayon og local music. Just like recently we played a gig sa Draft Punk sa Mango. But it was a kanang giplanado na event.
Dili spontaneous.
Dili spontaneous. But there were people from like mga Koreans ni visit, na Americans ni visit, ni pass by lang ba.
Yeah.
And then they saw us original bands play our original music, and then naginado pod sila. So I think it's just really the finding that venue.
Yeah. But isn't that the point of being a traveler, right? To experience something new. Niya kamoadto ka usa ka lugar imong paminawon kay si Lady Gaga ra gyapon. What the hell is that?
Mura na natog strength ug weakness at the same time.
Yeah.
Kasi ang Filipinos may magud kay plakado ba, to use an old term.
Yeah.
So kung naay foreigner mo ari diri, ang lahi sa dang focus for pariha lagi mong tingong ni Bruno Mars inanagdating. So mo na encourage itong culture nga mo padayon.
Did you want to say something, Mel or Jingo? Go ahead.
Well, on my part, kanang doing covers is most tourists, like a good example is going on a cruise. Ato ka cruise katong istorya ni Benji Rigor, that they have to do covers all the time because they cannot do original songs because mao may gusto sa mga pasahero ngadto. So they have to make a show to satisfy the audience, no? So probably if in Cebu, for instance, we will have created names of us artists nato mo who do original songs, then probably the tourists will say adto ko nga to sa Cebu kay ganahan ko minaw sa Qings kay sikat ini mga kanta nila nga to sa Amerika. And I want to see them. They are not in America, but they are in Cebu. So, maadto ko sa Cebu aron maminaw sa ilang music. But if they go to Cebu and then they do not know the Qings, maadto sila og bar, probably if they are into music, kanang bagong music na nindot ni siyada. But if these tourists are just here for the fun of it, maminaw, they prefer to listen to familiar music. The way that tourists would go to McDonald's, Americans, because they're used to McDonald's, rather than go to Jollibee because they're not familiar with Jollibee. So something like that, no?
So do you think we don't have in our younger generation don't really appreciate original music? And I commented from Julia, sa mga gigs ra ang original songs if commercial space covers you know.
Yeah.
So do you think there's no appetite for local music or original music?
Yeah.
Or is it just nga kaning kulang pa lang og tuod gamay?
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Miguel Labella listening. Going back to the question, I think it's more of a progression. We're headed there. We're headed towards a commercial appreciation for local music, and at the same time, at the end of the day, it really boils down to the artists. Like, if you want to keep doing what you're doing, you gotta follow certain standards. Like, I mean, to kanang exaggerate ba, like tune your guitars or do a proper recording. Kay, syempre, you can't blame the audience if mo gawas ka og medyo lo-fi, nya itupad nimo og puro hi-fi. So mo gawas gid ang dapat siya sakar gid siya sa programming ba. So, but we're headed there.
So how do you achieve that? Ang akong na mahinumduman is kanang mga awards giving bodies, right? How do you let them know there's like a baseline requirement ba? Like how do you do that? Like must you go to school? Must everybody go to school?
Oh.
So there has to be like a kind of baseline minimum requirement and then people should know that so that when they do it, at least tuno lang gitara. And I think the only mechanism that we can do that is through the awards giving bodies. Or are there other ways to do that?
Bao mo, like at the end of the day, Jigs ba, kanang, I feel like ang kanta gid bitaw, it boils down to the kanta nga nindot. Kay one of my examples ani kay si Paramore, when naman because you mentioned about parameters and criteria of like what it is nga kanang standard. Before ang vocals up front, this was kanang mga toto, kay may mga vocalista gid sa una ba niya paghuman kay pag-abot sa Paramore ining mga mid 2010s, gibali nila ang timpla nga ang drums mo up front. So if you listen, if mga karaan nga engineers mo papaminawon ana, murag why are the drums in front of the vocals mix wise? But sikat sila ato nga time. So unsa gyud kay nindot sa gyud ang kanta. So if nindot imong kanta kanang mga timpla-timpla diha di na kayo matter in a way. And you have the internet to support you man with the basics like the kilohertz and the trebles and basses and Fonso.
Yeah, but guaranteed naman, I think there are really talents out there na wala pa na like put into position na they can like record their songs na quality na agian na process because like siguro kulangan sila access to it. That's why I mentioned before na murag mo ni kulang po sa Cebu na we have great producers here, but we don't have like that general hub of producers helping other local talents.
Is it a money thing? Is it a technology thing? Or is it a skill thing? What do we need? Or is it we need all of it?
I think it's a play with all of the above, I think.
So
like
we need more skills, we need more training, and we need the hardware also to be able to record the right way.
No,
to be
bago i-interject.
Go ahead, attorney.
Kato atong dimension nyo ganiha about kanang original composition o play ka covers. Amo ko na illegal issue. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of PhilScap.
Yes.
Yeah. So, on my end, ako'y clients kang PhilScap has been wala siya Association of Filipino Composers, and then sila na ang mo kuan sa royalties, and then they have a reciprocal agreement with kaning like ASCAP sa US. So apparently nasa sila agreement kasi sila mo collect royalties. So right now they are going around Cebu asking them to accredit na naa sila fees. If you play cover music, if you cover other people's intellectual property, nya kana bag-upa kay na siya sa tua uban di kasabot, no? And to explain nga, when you go to the US, like I'm sure most of you have been abroad, di ka kadungog kay covers. They always play original music. That's the difference. Mel knows that. Because if you play manggod a cover, if you cover na sa this music, nana siya royalty. And that's the reason why sa gawas, you always hear 90% of the time original music. Nana siya hinuwan sana guys. So kita, at least kapon ako na isulod kay at some point siguro this is where the law comes in and helps out the local artists kay I don't know when, but maybe down the line mapugos na sila og play original music.
I will give you an example about that. Kanag-ingon yung PhilScap jingo, no? There was a concert of Jose Marichan, yan sa Cebu. Christmas to. And then, ang producer, pwede na tanan, no? And then, the PhilScap guy came in and said that, nakabayad ba mo sa fee in relation sa kining mga kantahon ni Jose Marichan? Ang producer na ingon nga tempa, si Jose Marichan may mo kanta sa iyang kanta. Diba? Apan ingon ko taga PhilScap, no. Makanta si Jose Marichan sa iyang kanta, but ang PhilScap mo kolekta kay gikanta ni Jose Marichan ang iyang kanta. So,
Yeah.
nga dili mi mahinayon.
Ihatag ako sa Bills Cup ka Jose Marichan.
Oo. So dili mi mahinayon
ang
ng concert. Dili mahinayon ng concert kung dili mo mobayad a certain amount. So nakuyawan ang producer. So producer said pila man mao ni. Sige bayad na lang ni oh. Nya katong kartaha paduol to sa Phil's Cup and then Phil's Cup is going to give it back partly to Jose Marichan for singing his song in the concert. Pagkahuman sa concert, ingon sa ni Jose Marichan, nakabayad lagi mi sa imong kanta nga imong gikanta sa Phil's Cup. Ingon sa Jose Marichan, pwede man ito, I could have signed a waiver. No? Waiver aron nga dili sila mo kolekta. But that waiver was not signed. So they were asked to pay, but the representative of Phil's Cup sa Cebu sa una, he had a dili siya popular sa mga nga sa Cebu because
Ano si Ayan man siya, Mel? Si Ayan of Sheila Insects. Sakto ba?
Okay, yeah. So very difficult on part of Ayan, really. No? Pursue it.
I remember magod nga. Yeah.
Mao na siya. And some of the songs of some of our artists here are registered with Phil's Cup, di ba? So it's a learning thing para sa mga local artists.
Kulang pa kayong dissemination, and then I think ang parameters po sa Phil's Cup, I think they're undermanned. Like an example nimo, parang dapat, I don't think it's proper nga diha naka sa concert day mutunga ka dito. I mean, right. Layo pa, you should have already written the producer or introduced yourself. Kay you can just barge in and say taga Phil's Cup to nga, wala ka ID. I mean, so right. Kasi Phil's Cup na. Huh?
So how do you feel about that, Luis? Go ahead.
Now, for the record, we are Phil's Cup sakto ba artist or members. I really agree with what si Attorney Jingo mentioned. With what Attorney Jingo mentioned about kanang structure in place ba, because it makes a lot of sense. It really makes a lot of sense na kung if the Phil's Cup structure is in place and mubayad ning mga bars, makasabot na sila ba in terms of education perspective, the learning curve nga bitaw no nabito ni fees kay nagprotect ra man gud gyapon as artist. Imagine na si Bruno Mars di makakwarta sa mga covers diri sa Pilipinas, ginana ba, so dapat mabayaran ng artist. Now if makat-on ang syudad ana, then the next logical thing would be original na lang, at least na lang ba, like original na lang ta guys, at least muliko sila nya maka-discover sila ba nga hala nindot lagi ni sila nga banda. So sakto na kang Attorney Jingo actually. It just takes ka ng I don't know like time and execution, dagan-dagan pa nagbuhaton kay underman sad gyud.
Yeah, absolutely. Our time now, speaking of time, it is now 12:03. Yes, Mel, go ahead. All the way from New Zealand, Mel Libre, go ahead.
About Phil's Cup, no? Ngari sa kwan, I sing in the we have a choir in the church, no? Ngari sa New Zealand. And then when we sing, ihatag man namo in advance ang set of songs that we will sing during the mass. Ang katong tigdawat sa simbahan moingon nga kining kantaha are not registered with we have not registered the songs, no? So you cannot sing this song because the songs that we will have to sing are those on our list because we are paying yearly, annually to the publishing company, something like that. So
very, very interesting. Dili sila mananghid sa kahitasan di ay. Pwede na kayo, Lord? Pwede na kayo tukar ng kantaha, Lord? Yes. Jingo, nakaisol ni Jinx, go ahead.
Mag-parting shot namin, Jig.
Go ahead. Kaya alas 12 na.
I think si...
Napay kaso.
Napay ka nangita ni Kwantao, ni Wilbert. Go ahead.
Kanta para ba ni si Wilbert, ni Kaligo niya. Magkuyawan siya, basig bilan siya sa Phil's Cup.
Oy. Basig pagunin yung tubig.
Anyway guys, akong parting shot is thank you kayo sa very spirited discussion. I like seeing up-and-coming talent like the Qings. Julia knows you guys also. She messaged me. Akong idol sa una pag yun. Ito ni Melibre niya. I'm always running into Winbird. So timing you kayo nga we were able to join. Thank you, Jig.
Nice to see you here, guys.
Thank you so much. Winbird Chua of the band A to Z. And of course, Attorney Jingo Quijano, akong partner sa atong Double J. We're going to talk about sports and basketball. Maybe we'll talk about Luka Doncic and the Euro League and so on and so forth soon. Daghang salamat ninyo doa.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And Mel, go ahead. What are your parting words all the way from New Zealand? Go ahead. Attorney Mel Libre, go ahead.
Thank you so much, GB, for this question today. And listen to our program tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock. Bihori Global. Minata ha?
Salamat Mel Libre, Attorney Mel Libre of New Zealand. Very insightful, right? Nga naday pamaagi di sa gobyerno nga makatabang some musicians like you.
Kaya.
So before we wrap it up and play your song, which I want you to set up, katong Samantha, what are your parting words? Go ahead.
Yeah, we're very grateful. I mean, at the end of the day, artists are supposed to just focus on their art, and then we trust the stakeholders and the government to do their part, and that's the best way to do it. Just trust each other, work towards a common goal, and hopefully Cebu follows that. Na naman day sa New Zealand, karon pa ko nakaibaw. Actually, natin New Zealander ko.
Oy.
New Zealand man.
Oy.
Oh yeah, I worked in New Zealand.
Okay.
And then wako kabalik tungod sa COVID.
Ah.
Yeah, so sayang.
Okay.
So
Makalingon.
mentioning New Zealand brought flashbacks pod.
Oy.
Pero yeah, I mean, it's very
flashback mo rin, some of the way.
nindot kayong lugar, very beautiful place.
Okay.
Habitat was very beautiful as well.
Okay.
So I know what Attorney Mel was talking about. Pero mo na siya, I think for me very important ako mindset, especially sa band, sigoy ko nila, you do you. Especially lima may brothers, lahi may age, generation and all. Not that far apart, pero
levels of kagwapuhon na isa, di ba?
Yeah. So you do you, good. You do you. Pero let's respect each other's boundaries, each other's taste, and then hopefully we can. Yeah. All right.
What happened?
Next story ako ibirang mic. Pero yeah.
Daw mo na tawag
Exactly.
sibling rivalry.
Kaayo.
Sibling. Ay mo pag-away. Ay lang.
Ikaw na.
Si mama ko nagtanaw ra ba ninyo in town? My goodness, ayaw town.
By the way, si Fonso of the Qings di ay kay gibirag yung microphone.
Ayaw kita.
Ay mo na phones go.
Sorry.
Sa sana walang gawin.
Oh, ano yung mama ko nasuko na. Go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, one of parting words kay kanang yeah, we hope you enjoy listening to Samantha. We've worked hard producing this song, collab with the producer as well. Shout out to Vince Lucero.
Yeah, shout out to Vince Lucero who did the recording and mixing, and si
David Lina
for the mastering. Our friend who handles artists like Ben and Ben, SB19. So we're really grateful for those guys to help us. But yeah, more na siya.
So this is the first of many that we'll be releasing this year. And yeah, we hope that this will trailblaze the path for, or like enjoy, like for you guys to just enjoy our music.
Would you like to say anything? Go ahead.
Well, before we close everything,
Go ahead.
I'd just like to point out that we also have another comment from our YouTube live.
Go ahead.
Si Madera.
Okay.
She says nga naay sa Cordova daw, mura naay open mic daw didto.
Cordova.
Kaninga daw nga venue kay maka-boost jud daw sa inyo status. So
Wow, okay.
maybe something for you guys to explore.
Yeah.
Cordova, right?
Itag mi sa lugar. Amo tanawon.
Kay kibaw kang Cebu man good, although it seems small, but if you think about amatay mga component cities bitaw, because of traffic and work and all of that stuff, dili na kaayo mo lakaw ang mga tao layo sa ilang lugar bitaw. You know what I mean? There's Lapu-Lapu, there's Minglanilla, kaning there's Naga, there's Karkar, di ba? There's Bugo. Like if you look at it as a small country ba, naagid siya different markets if you wanna overanalyze it ba.
Yeah, timely kayo. Actually, yesterday I messaged an old friend who had a venue kanag yung pina Hard Rock Cafe ba. Nasmaktan.
Oh, asa napita sa Mactan.
I don't know the place,
Okay.
but it was called Flasher Factory.
Okay.
Tag-iya kay German bay. Naay mga US guitars. Tukar nimo pili ilag usa tukar ka diya.
Oh.
Unya ana kanindot ato zero covers gito siya. Original yang gisupport.
And then
I asked him yesterday,
Oh.
gimingaw man ko, hey man, kanang musta like
in your German accent.
Oh, yeah. So mura siya niya, ni angkon siya nga tungod sa COVID, ni-reset gid sila. So I think COVID also legit played a part nga nag-restart tanan mga negosyo ba. So kana lang. Yeah.
So this next song, the Qings and Samantha, break it down to us, brother.
Let's go.
Well, as the drummer, so pero jokes aside, Samantha for me is such a beautiful song. As what Alfonso mentioned earlier, it's a song about where we want to go where we want to head, especially how we want to sound like. But at the same time, we have enjoyed the whole process, the whole journey, creating the song from writing, recording, those sleepless nights as well. And we're happy to be able to play it today here at TMC 105.1 for our listeners to be
Yeah.
able to listen.
And actually, we're doing something different with this song. We are releasing it first for radio. Wala pa ni siya. You cannot hear this online.
Wow.
It will
Well, thank
be,
you.
It will be online probably in a month or something.
Yeah.
But we wanted to give it to Cebu radio because, you know, we're from Cebu. We want to hang out with our fellow Cebuanos, and
Which we just did, especially.
yeah, that was a fun discussion.
yeah.
Like,
Lingaw kayo.
lingaw
Yeah.
kayo. So, mo na siya, guys. Murag pasalamat sa namo ba nga kita taga dire raman gyud ta. Mao niya mong kanta, hinaot unta nga malingaw ra sa tatanan. So, and then ang kalibutan dayon ato world Spotify din sunod.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, they can actually listen to this one all over the world already.
Right,
This one
right.
is the Kings, ladies and gentlemen, and Samantha, or the way they pronounce it, Samantha, on 105.1 TMC.
The best of us.